So, you know, we haven't really got too far away.
If not one, it's the other.
Yeah, so immediate response comes in. Control around these objectives, going to be super important. So Maokai has been locked in. They've got the Corki alongside it too, so potentially a very strong laning phase.
Oh my gosh, they left
Plus,
Sion up.
they do have the opportunity to flex that Corki towards Senkux too. So we'll see if that ends up being a very classic Corki Azir. Sion's up. Maybe this, I mean, it had to be the plan. They would have thought about it, right? So they're going to let Sion go through.
There's a
what
rumble.
will SLT's response be?
We'll have a look. I mean, typically, like, answers into Sion includes stuff like Aatrox. You know, that's a pretty big classic for meta top laners, which I imagine SLT could pull out. If he goes for something more tank heavy, you could see something like a Cho, but I imagine it's going to be like the Aatrox. Artrum, you mentioned Rumble. Rumble's okay into this as well, and it's a great pairing with the Corki and the Maokai. That's a classic staple. So yeah, I could see that too. That's an Italy. That is a Nidalee.
That's Velia's Nidalee, by the way.
Yeah, that is Velia's Nidalee.
That's different.
Yeah,
if you put the name before the champion.
It has to be said, honestly, Velia kind of has the Nidalee pass, you know, as far as, you know, ERLs are concerned. Anytime he's pulled it out, he's looked pretty damn good on it individually, so looking forward to seeing him pilot that and into a Maokai, which, you know, has a significantly slower clear time overall. Expect him to take control over the jungle matchup in terms of tempo, right? And maybe he can start to look for some invades. And SLT lands on the Aatrox, very common answer into the lane of Sion.
Yeah, I think definitely when you're playing with a Nidalee, you're going to want to pair that off with some kind of hard engage. I feel, to me, that Los Ratones lacks a lot of setup to land that spear. I think something like a Nautilus with anything with CC to allow for that spear to land is very, very important here. So maybe we see some bans towards things like Braum. Anything that answers those picks could be important to LR.
I was thinking, are they also excluded, these bans? No, there you go. It was only for game one. They were taking
MF.
their sweet time, yeah.
So they're not convinced it's an AD Corki. It's a mid lane Corki with the classic Maokai pairing, with the AP Maokai potentially. We're seeing CC champs being banned on the other side as well, with the Rel coming out, as well as the Rakan for Reckless, which I'm pretty vocal about being his best champion. I think he's so good at that champion, so good target fans there.
I definitely agree, and I think it's like by far and away his best engaged champion too, right? It's been good to see him kind of stretch his legs onto the more proactive champs, because I feel like at times he's been a player that's been happy as a support to really just kind of lean on the more reactive champions overall. As Bard is also going to bite the bullet. Tori did have a pretty good Bard showing earlier, but I feel like Alistar, Braum, that's like the most likely matchup, and I think Alistar just has so much value into this Maokai. It's very difficult to leave that one.
What are they with banning Bard? It indicates to me that they're picking something immobile. Is it going to be something standard like a Jhin, something setup wise? That's heavy in that regard.
If they were expecting the Alistar,
oh
like
my gosh,
Braum,
it's
is
a Braum
really not too bad.
It's a Braum Cogma.
Yeah.
A G2 classic, that one. It's so lane dominant. The Alice is going to go in and just get absolutely shredded every single time, and they're going to play the front to back this way. Yeah, a lot of inspiration from G2. That's an absolute banger.
I think they need, I was going to say, I think they need to send the Corki mid now. I don't think Corki can lane into, you know, this Kog'Maw at all, and I love this Zig swap over. Reminder, we haven't really spoken about it too much today, but being on the patch that we're on, Zig's buffs were insane. Honestly, the AP ratio buffs that Zig's got were nuts. So overall, he just deals more damage, scales better into the later stages of the game, and I think more, you know, crucially, he really just shuts out a lot of these you know, kind of potential lane bully matchups like this, where it's like Kog'Maw would outrange a Corki, whereas Ziggs can just throw his bombs on the mid.
It's Season 8. It's Nemesis v Senkux. We've gone back a few years, and somehow, some way, Azir versus Corki always returns. Velia, though, bringing out a specialty pick in the Nidalee. Not the most setup for it, as we heard the desk kind of muse about, but you can look to bully with...
Now, what really Nidalee thrives on is some sort of dive setup, such as maybe a knock-up coming through from Sion. The most traditional one you guys will know is probably the Renekton plus Nidalee, the W into the straight spear, into the execute, right? So that's how it goes, but I feel like there is a chance that you can actually play through the top side of the map and actually shut down that Aatrox straight off the early game.
And it is Bowser's Sion, right? He does get a hold of that with nameplates on, things like that. Kog'Maw, Braum, bot side. You go, yeah, that's something we remember from G2 when it was even Caps down at that bot side at one point when they'd roll swap back perks towards that mid lane and Caps towards AD carry for a bit of a flick around, and they found some success with that Kog'Maw bot, but are now in a position where Velia already on the invade at this early mark, looking to get a hold of this blue buff and should be able to do it. You can actually see Danka trying to get over here and defend, but it's going to be just too late. Started his Raptors and doesn't get over here in time and couldn't look to trade back on the other side. We'll just be down that additional buff.
Yeah, and I just want to remind everyone that this Ziggs is the buffed Ziggs. It's in the new patch. He did receive buffs on his Q, E, and R. Primarily his Q is mostly... everything. Who cares about damage? Just kills towers, right? So pretty much every single spell that deals damage onto this Ziggs has gotten buffed. Now, a lot of it is primarily through the AP ratio percentage, not necessarily the flat damage that he does. But again, with items, that does seem to exponentially grow, right? So we'll see later on if Devon does manage to do really, really big damage. Now, the one thing that I want to point out when you actually see a Ziggs over in the Rift is that he's very similar to what Caitlyn does and what Tristana does. You really want to come into contact with the tower, and by minute 11 you want to have taken your first tower so you can swap on the map and keep threatening those tower platings. Right here, by locking in the Braum and the Kog'Maw, LR have pretty much solidified that that bot lane is not going anywhere near that tower of LR.
Primal Surge, Velia looking to invade. Baus now potentially looking for some more flashes on forward for the slow. Velia gonna miss the spear because of a flashback, but it doesn't matter because the decimating smash knockup is still there for SLT. Begins to dodge away. Hit by that one. Flash on forwards and a nice gang topside. You called it out. It might not be Renekton, but there's enough CC there to set up Velia for a kill.
I feel like it's fantastic. The setup is fantastic, and right here Velia plays like a diva. He stole with the Q! He stole the big Krog with the Q! This is... Lock him up! Lock him up, because that is not legal gameplay right there. Velia, fantastic. He started at the Raptors. He did 2 camps on his top side, instantly towards the gank, because he sees SLT overextended. And now right here, SLT has made himself even more of a target. Has to re-TP back to lane, doesn't have that flash available to him. And guess what? That blue buff is still up on the top side of the map. So, okay. Nidalee is not going to necessarily do that because she's also a farming champion, but on the repeat, when you have first cleared your jungle, you've gone back, you've grabbed items, there is a possibility that you can revisit top side of the map.
And Baus will never change. He backs for Synchronous Souls and a Cult. Like, we know exactly how he wants to play this game.
Never change. Never, ever change. As here you see Velia. He does actually get spotted right here from Senkax, so he might get a little bit poked around, but Nidalee is a pretty slippery champion. I don't think Velia can stick around necessarily because Danka is right behind Senkax right there, so pretty good spotting from Senkax in the jungle. Danka might actually look for Velia, so he's risking... Well, if his risk is going to get cancelled, he might as well cancel someone else's. That's how it goes.
Gonna be a little late now on that reset, but of course, all the while, Senkax can pick up this wave under the turret. Not the end of the world here. Was looking to come back in. He's got the teleport to work, but it's not that bad. As the Void Ooze in the shape of some honey comes on down. We've got B-More down there. One of the more adorable Kog'Maw skins, Nemesis. Has been shoved in a little bit early on by Senkax. Did some good work on the Corki as SLT gets the Conqueror stack. Gonna get knocked up. Might be able to turn that one around, but there comes the Grass proc, and Baus gets his dopamine hit.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people will tell you that Baus's best champion is Sion. I would very respectfully disagree with that. I think Baus's best champion is Gragas, by far.
That's fair.
However, Baus's best macro champion is by far Sion. And he's been playing the map fantastically well every time he's on this champion. I think particularly his early game TPs have been very interesting in terms of like opening up bot lane or mid lane or playing through skirmishes and stuff like this. He's going to pre-charge the knockup. SLT is not going to dive right into it. So he's going to take his back. Might TP into lane, might walk into lane depending on where the wave is as well. Most likely will TP into this though for a little bit more of pressure. However, since Nidalee is not around, there is no pressure in terms of a kill for the time being. But Velia really needs to just get in that jungle, clear all the bots of the map, maybe grab some more stuff from base, and then play around that first dragon down the bot side of the map.
Torre, worth noting, gone for that spellbook. Devon got the TP, so there's quad TPs available for Verdant this game, assuming Torre switches over, so they can turn up real fast, and they've got the global of a Zigzal and the semi-global of a Maokai ultimate, so their ability to respond from nearly any given game state is pretty ridiculous this game, so going to have to be aware of that. Of course, Crownie similarly got his own TP, whereas Reckless has decided to go towards the Guardian, a bit more defensive here than something like the spellbook.
Yeah, and as you can see, because bot lane does have the priority, you get your Braum into the river first, you get your Kog'Maw to the river first, which means that Dank actually had to give up on the dragon. And as you'll see, he completely gave up on the side of the map. He's going towards whatever camp he has left over on the top side. So Skullcrab and Dragon will most likely go over to the side of Los Ratones. And again, for anyone tuning in, both of these teams are #1 tied in their group right now. This is exactly what happened over in Spring. We also thought that in Spring that Verda was going to be the big boy team that was going to take on Los Ratones, but when the time came, when they were both 0 losses, it was Los Ratones that came up on top. And the same thing has happened pretty much all over again, right? They've beaten every other team in their group except for each other. And this is the big last task for either of them to lock that #1 spot.
I mean, you can count how many official losses LR have on one hand, it feels like this year. Yeah, we've seen some scrimsay against the likes of Garm, who's bounced into the tower in tier 2 to get his passive out, clear another wave, and reset in time.
The cannon was one hit. That's a lot of gold left behind. All right.
Dragon going to be tied up by Velio as he does get that one, and Torek gets the headbutt back on Reckless, who's looking to put some wards down, but again, because of the fact that the Maokai had to leave, doesn't really find much contest. Nemesis eating some nasty trades there from Sankux, who was bullying early on, of course. The difference between Corki Azir of years past and Corki Azir of now is there is no package, and Corki, generally speaking, a little bit more of an earlier skewed champion than he once was.
Yeah, still equally as doomed. In terms of
that's fair.
what you see in the early game, right?
That's so true.
Still two very nicely scaling champions into the late game. You go through the Manamune route, which means you want to charge your tier, and later on, as Danka has started the Void Grubs right here, does have the support of his mid lane, as well as Torek coming through with that Alistar. However, Nemesis has to take it back. Very low on HP, very low on mana. I don't think they actually can contest on the side of LR.
Doesn't look like it at all, and Dank, of course, will have his smite up, gets all 3 quite happily, and that feels pretty good here, all things considered. You've got a Ziggs now with Grubs. That should always be scary.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what you want to do, right? Ziggs is pretty much the AP Caitlyn. If you want to visualize a different champion in lane, you want to be coming into contact with those towers. The W is a very powerful tool that takes the towers much earlier than they should be dying. And right here, SLT is losing a bunch of experience and gold to try and chase Spouse away.
Yeah, people are coming up strictly, but they've given it up, so SLT just dropped half a wave to make that, and that's a little bit awkward. We'll just go pick up what he can. Glacier Fisher now drops to the Torre, who doesn't actually have his own ult available, so has to flash away. Hit by that Winter's Bite. Needs to dodge away from the spear by headbutting forward Velia onto the turret, eating a lot of damage. Senkux trying to turn it around. Valkyrie's forwards Velia up into the human form, but Danka now here. It's a 1-for-1 right now. Senkux flashing away. Nemesis doesn't get a chance to put down the ultimate. Danka looking for an angle, can't quite get in range of the twisted advanced Nemesis. Maybe forced to flash on out and does so as the smite comes on down. In the end, it is the 1-for-1.
Yeah, Danka flashed a little bit too late right there, and he didn't quite have the range to get onto Nemesis or Velia, so that flash was a little bit misused right there. That's a Maokai that doesn't have his summoner available right now, but a lot of them burn from the sort of LR. Velia, Nemesis also flashless, but don't worry guys, we do have Cannon at home. 2-0 on this Nidalee for Velia right now, and I have to say, back-to-back games for Los Ratones right here. I feel like Velia has been the MC of the entire story. It feels like the rest of Los Ratones are kind of scaling into the late game, same as they did with the Azir Senna game, kind of. And then Velia is just the MC of the entire early to mid.
Look, last game we saw them, which was first game of the day, we just saw all the lane priority, and they just went and abused Lulis Trundle the entire game. It was rough stuff. This time around, drugs in a Nidalee, 2-0 to start, up a decent amount of gold, gets that Lich Bane early hit, so looking to get as much damage down with some of those procs as he can.
SLT as well, complete his Soulgen. First item for that Aatrox. Slowly but surely is going to start also getting pretty strong for the fights to come. Now, the one thing, I know that Aragon spoke about really liking the Aatrox into the Sion as a matchup, but I have yet to see a collectively successful Aatrox in general. I feel like teamfights for this champion are just really difficult to hit. I truly usually compare the Aatrox to a Ryze. I find him to be like an AD short-range caster, and usually like short-range champions really do struggle unless they get like individual skirmishes and they split the fight apart. So I'd love to see how SLT actually pilots these team fights to come, because it's a very structured front to back that LR have, and I don't necessarily see how Aatrox breaks that.
Baus now going to eat a bit of damage, and we've seen maybe 1 or 2, but that's been at like international level. The likes of your Keens, your Flandres have managed to pull it off, and in fairness to him, SLT's not in a bad spot this game. Of course, died the one time, but otherwise happy enough right now, and you're seeing the damage he's doing with those Shojin procs here. All of that cooldown reduction there, stacking percent damage also feels pretty good into people like the Scion. I can see the value there at least. There's Dragon spawning in a minute or so. We've got Herald in 3 or so after that. See exactly what the play is as Velia once again finds himself in the enemy jungle, niddly doing niddly things.
Now he's looking towards the top side of the map where Baus is taking trades with SLT. He might be looking for yet another kill right here. There is flash available to SLT as well as ultimate, but taking that right before the dragon could be what you need to take that fight.
Gets the spear and flashes away from it. I apologize as the decimating smash does come on down, but not quite enough CC. Heart still completed for Baus, but the flash still blown. But it means Velia on the top side of the map gives Verdant a chance to throw down the minefield and get themselves ready with all of the saplings to prepare for this dragon.
Look at the Velia. He's going towards the top of the map yet again. He's a sperma farming. 20 seconds for the dragon, yet there isn't necessarily a setup for Alara right here. So I'm assuming Alara might be giving this one away. There is not a lot of setup. There's a couple of wards gone down for the side of Verdant, and they do have a lot of that priority through bot lane being pushed by that Ziggs. Reckless being found in the bush right here by Torre. We might have some exchange.
Will, Torre available still for Torre, and the Unbreakable Wall comes on down. Just gets over it and stays alive.
All right, Verdant with a really nice trade right here. Are gonna force Reckless to back, and this is a Guardian Braum. This is not a Braum that builds Spellbook, doesn't have the TP to come back in. And again, I feel like here, a little bit greedy from Velia going towards the top side, taking the cracks means that you're later on around that river, and Verdant managed to secure themselves the first dragon for them in this game.
Shojin for Senkux first of all, really valuing this item at the minute. They'll get a hold of that dragon, feel pretty happy about it. Down 2,000 gold, which is significant, and it's spread pretty evenly around the map, but largely, I think, about 1,000 of it can be found between the top and jungles right now. Heal to help keep the Corki alive. As they did go looking for some more there, Torre will headbutt a minion in anger and pick up a cannon.
Just pushing that bot lane very, very close. That first item onto Kog'Maw as well. Not quite completed right there for Crowny. Again, we're back to the original roster. If anyone tuned in for the first game, Kedra was playing support, Reckless was playing as AD carry, but we're back to normal for Los RATONES as
top
Baus.
sides. Can look for some more. Out comes the potential turnaround. Well, then it comes on down. No flash. Does have a Deathbringer stance though. Damage onto Velia. It's brutal. Oh my days. The slow comes on forward. Q3 onto Baus. Grass keeps Baus alive. Jump forward. Loses it. Lich Base not enough. Another heal. And Baus has to leave as well. 1v2 secured by Aatrox. All right. There you go. That's how it's supposed to play. But now on the other side, Senkux in danger. Crowny going to be deleted a kill. Throws out that caustic spittle and picks up a kill onto the Corki.
Yeah, Nemesis finds the opening right there, uses the shuffle to take down Senkux. Senkux doesn't flash for this one, but I want to watch top lane again because something must have gone really terribly wrong for that one. Oh, it's a replay towards the bottom of the map. Senkux is a little bit too overextended. The shuffle comes through from Nemesis, and he does really just solve that. But over on the top of the map, that was a 2 versus 1 from SLT, and he does manage to get a kill, plus both flashes from Velia and Baus. So I'm just going to call it right now. I don't think this Aatrox is a target anymore.
Mid lane turret's not going to be very happy here with Devon around. Won't quite be able to get the full thing, but a decent chunk now. The short fuse, passive with that satchel charge can absolutely delete a turret in short order. Torre finds Baus here, headbutts him towards Danker, Twister advance forward, Senkux over here, may well be donated the kill, comes forward with the Force Bomb, begins to throw out some rockets and the Gatling gun. And Bausi, I don't really think has much of a way out of this. Nature's Grasp comes on forwards, doesn't quite catch Velia, who no longer has a top laner to really play around those crocs. Just get some damage onto the turret while he gets the chance, and a Heartsteel proc as well.
Yeah, now that you said the turret, I would have loved to see a way that Verdant can actually get Ziggs in contact with our mid lane tower. It's actually taking a bunch of hurt. Nemesis has been pulled back.
And the shifting stance is on cooldown. It's a long time. Won't be forced to blow the flash though. I wonder whether SLT could maybe go a little further, but I guess with the Q on cooldown, Q3 already burned. Maybe a little out of damage there. Happy enough having chunked out Nemesis, and all the while, Herald being started by Verdant. That will actually claim them feats of strength here. They're the ones who got 3 kills first, and this will be their 3rd objective.
Yeah, and that's a great start, right? For Verdant. You're very happy taking that early game. Again, you're scaling in low with the Aatrox, the Corki, plus the Ziggs. However, if you're an Alara fan, don't fret. because early games are not for LR. However, saying that, hold up, was Nemesis in trouble?
Unbreakable well. Gets a good shuffle
Very
away.
well played.
Exhaust goes down to Nemesis. TP comes on in. Torrent now potentially in danger. How aggressively do they want to play this? Not too bad. It's Crowny who TP's in. Baus, I'm not quite sure where he is actually.
He's
may well
bot
also be bot side. There we go. Lost him under SLT's icon, and I saw his TP was down. Like, did they double TP? And the answer was in fact no.
And very importantly, we're talking about that I wanted the Ziggs to come in contact with the mid lane tower, because the mid lane tower was really, really low. The fact that all the attention went to the tops of the map for Lost RATONES meant that Devon was pretty free on his own, pushing that mid lane wave and taking that tower down with the Ziggs W. So pretty big money going into the Ziggs' pockets right now. And again, game pretty much dead even, about 1,000 gold in favor of LR right here. However, you do have a bunch of scaling on both sides of the composition, and Velia, slowly but surely, he's going to start becoming more of a buff bot and less of a damage bot as the game goes on. You've got Azir and Congo becoming the primary carries for the team.
Picture in picture, LR claim their own turret there as they send Nemesis to join up with that one. Herald now summon bot side. Remember, this is with 3 grubs and a Ziggs. This charge could be very strong indeed. Ziggs not quite here at the time, though. This gets a bit interesting. Spear lands onto Senkox, who also eats a turret chuck. He threw the force bomb down. This is likely going down. Another javelin toss, just free aimed. And that's going to prevent this turret going on down. Unfortunate there from Senkox.
Oh, that was a great defense, but
fuse.
they got outplayed by Ziggs W. It's kind of getting outplayed by... Wait, there's one ult that's like really... It's Zyre, it's Syndra R, isn't it? You get outplayed by Syndra R.
Button. Yeah.
They
We
got
just saw
outplayed
Painful do
by,
that last
by
game,
6W. So far so good. It's been 80 minutes into the game. Devon has claimed himself 2 towers with the Ziggs, and that's exactly what you expect when you pick more of a tower-eating carry over in the bot lane. As Baus has found himself in a precarious situation once again.
Gets knocked out of his decimating smash, headbutted away. Senkox gets the kill. Did pick up the turret at the very least, and a heart steal probably means he's dead as this dragon is spawned, and so we might see Verdant try and convert that into that as Velia takes the opportunity to get some value as comes the Mega Inferno Bomb to clean the wave out topside. SLT was in danger there as the Brawn passive was being stacked. He thrown down the World Ender too, so looks like there was some very aggressive plays sticking around, but now it's a 3v1 with no World Ender to work with. Georgia, I think this Aatrox might be in a spot of bother.
Yeah, Tori's coming though through the rotation. He does have the Solari as well. Like, he's not going to be there in time. He went around.
He went around. Unfortunate. And SLT, no ult, no flash, and no hope of surviving there.
I thought it was pretty obvious that he was going to get redived, specifically because he called out that he used his ultimate in the first iteration of that skirmish over the tops of the map. Tor being on the way, having flash, having that Solari in his pocket, I was like, hey, if they try to dive him, this could turn really south for LR. However, Tor took the long way around, trying to get some... I think he was trying to take the safe route through the jungle. Unfortunately, he didn't want to lane towards SLT, and this is when LR punished that one. That's another kill going over to Lost RATONES, and right about now, it's about 1,500 gold lead for the Rats, as again, very happy with the situation right now, right? That Needle League sort of falls off later on in the game, but that Maokai is going to start hurting. I feel like they're very comparable because their Q and the sapling does a lot of damage in kind of similar ways, even though for Maokai it's easier to hit because you just shove it in the bush, slow someone, takes down.
I think the crazy thing here is that Nemesis is laning again. It's pretty foul. He's on 11 CS a minute. I think 220 farm in 20 minutes is very impressive. It's not like Senkox is farming badly. He's on about 10 CS a minute, which is supposed to be a gold standard. 2 items largely getting completed now by both teams as well. Note there's a slight discrepancy for SLT as it stands, who didn't pick up the boots early, whereas Faust did. But I suspect on back he will indeed have that Titanic Hydra. And Atakan now being considered by LR, certainly looking to put some wards and control down around this top side.
Yeah, and there's no TP onto SLT over on the bot side of the map. However, if you look at Baus, does have his TP available. He can also ult up the river if you want to join his team. SLT is going to have to be really careful right here. I feel like this is what LR are trying to bait, right? There is no TP onto SLT. They're trying to potentially bait him pushing the wave and heading up top lane, which means that then Baus will be freed up over on the bottom of the map to push down another wave. SLT and Verdant are not necessarily falling for it. They're holding the fort so far, but there's a bunch of wards that have been set up from Reckless and Co. over on the top of the map to pretty much scout Verdant around that top side objective. Oh, look at
Yeah,
Torres positioning. He's
definitely.
been spotted. He's been spotted.
Definitely just good look for something. Nemesis now potentially in danger. Flashes to interrupt the sifting sands. Tries to get some value back, but Danka is just there to get on top of him. And they kill off the Azir. 11 CS means nothing in the grave. Atakan there. Do they want to start on it? Looking to clear up the wave instead and maybe threaten something more. But as it stands for now, not willing to take the risk of starting Atakan.
I am a little confused because that was ping the second he walked inside the first push. I feel like alarm like
Yeah.
permanently pinging. So I'm not sure what has happened there.
Hang on.
Hold up.
Velia's in danger. He got picked up by the Maokai, and they pick up a kill on the jungler. And now they can do Atakan. Nemesis not up for another 15 seconds. Baus trying to keep this turret alive. Devon can look to short fuse it with that Satchel charge potentially, but I think Atakan is now going to be Verdant's. Big pickups for the girls, or boys in green.
Girls and boys and everyone in between. Verdant have taken 2 kills for themselves. 2 questionable kills, I want to say. Again, Nemesis saw Tor on the top of the map, fell for the gank. Velia threw himself in as a Baus is trying to kill the cow right there, but you obviously can't milk those. Baus.
Ow. Oh my days, the last auto. Can't quite get it. Bouncing bomb just wide. And Baus gets out alive. Can tell I've been casting G2 Hell recently. Changed my pronouns around out of nowhere. But there we go, Nemesis. Gonna try and get onto this tier 2 at least on the other side. Maybe gets survived, but SLT's coming, gets half the HP of the turret, but now needs to be a little bit wary. Won't get more than that for now, I think, with the Aatrox around to clear up the wave.
Actually, very good response right here from LR. They knew that they couldn't potentially walk up that river, so they pushed mid lane, they pushed bot lane as well. This is the only thing you can do, right, when you're in numbers disadvantage, when you're not going to be contesting any of those neutral objectives. And so far, I have to give props to Verdant. Not only have they managed to keep this game even, but I feel like they're picking off LR without necessarily overcommitting numbers or time to it. I've not necessarily seen them being taunted by Baus or chasing Baus around the map. They're literally picking off whichever member is in front of them, which so far has worked fantastically for them in terms of playing 4 versus 5 around objectives.
Death cap has been done for Ziggs for a little bit alongside that blighting jump. The Nature's Grasp goes wide. Senkuk's hit by that javelin dust, just not as scary as it was a little earlier in the game. But we said the Ziggs scaling has definitely improved with the last patch. Death cap plus Ludens will be quite a lot of damage to work with on all of that scaling to work with. Damage onto Nemesis, and some of that burn coming on through from the saplings. Dangerous. 20 seconds on the Chem Dragon, but LR force their way into the river and gain control of it.
Yeah, I feel like the Maokai ult being down, it's kind of bells ringing for Elara here. However, look at Torre! Look at Torre!
To call for! Wonderful flank! And the bug is splatted. The bees are dead. Celti needs to potentially back away, but they get a key pick on the AD carry.
Torre, what a monster flank right here. Walked all the way around mid lane, towards the top side of the map, and now Verdant are looking to fight 4 versus 5 in their advantage versus LR. This will be their 3rd dragon unless Velia has something to say for it.
Does indeed, and again, one of those ex-Splice players coming
Baus?
out to play. Great work from him. Baus got to try and come on in. What is he doing? Gonna find some value. Look at Senkuk's on the flank, trying to win 1v1, but SLT not. A 3-man pulverized. Torre again. He was always an Alistair player. What value he finds. Green for Verdant and green for the absolute level of play. There is only go buttons this game.
What in the world has Torre being fed? And don't tell me grass. That will be the last you will hear of me. But what a fantastic performance from Torre on this Alistar, the double flank. Not only to catch Crowny, but then the triple knockup to finish the deal as well. So that's a 4 versus 5. I feel Alara trying to sort of play the dipping in and out game, but they have no vision behind them, and Torre just walks straight in. Baus tries to find the flank, which means that the 4 versus 5 just suddenly becomes a 4v3 in favor of Verdant, and what a fantastic knockup right there as a have a continuation on live.
Getting a lot of damage, actually do get the kill though. Shutdown goes onto the Ziggs, but now Velia in danger as he's getting run up. Will take a camp away on the other side, but Torre is just waiting. Out comes the Infernal Chains, and it sends it straight down to hell. Velia down for the count.
But that is a Baron that's still up and standing, right? 35 seconds for Sion in the Death Realm, but also 30 seconds for Danka, which means smites are down, no objectives going down. Torre caught.
Gonna try and jump onto him, throws down the Unbreakable Will, but he's in a 1v2, and the rest of the squad's not gonna be able to get here to defend him. We'll get the Pulverize down, trying to buy his space.
No way.
Headbutts over the wall, puts the locket down. No way he gets away with that. Style points for Day. Torre can do no wrong the last 5 minutes.
That is actually crazy. Torre has been bait hero number 1 for Verdant right there. Absolute shrimp mode But LR keep biting the bait, but they can't catch him.
Utapon is taking notes on computer stance right now. Like, this is impressive levels of sweat coming on in, and it is a tight game. We were hoping it would be, but Verdant over the last 5 minutes have absolutely come to play. You've got 3 items on Corki, you've got 2.5 on Ziggs, and sometimes you just need to outplay. They do some fantastic work there. Another one of those former LEC supports, another one of Senkux's supports back when he was on Splice even. Torre, the artist formerly known as Nosker, and exactly an SLT as we were talking about back on the Vitality days. Well, these are some long-standing, very tenured players from Verdant as well, for all that LR have had a lot more press to them. Don't sleep on a lot of these Verdant players. They are damn good themselves.
And I feel like the only thing that's kind of kicking for me on the side of LR is this Nidalee. She did so well in the early game, but I feel like, again, towards the late game, you kind of become a buff ball. Hold on, Torre, again.
Put it into the wall. Exhaust, he can only run so far. Just about gets out of line, puts down the subject, but now down on 10% HP. May need to look back and TP back in. Danka throws out the Nature's Grasp. Bouse now here. Where is the rest of the squad? SLT not here quite yet. Now he's beginning to TP. Going forward to Danka, buying space with the Twisted Grasp. Twisted Advance, I apologize, conflating some abilities again. Bramble smash down, Bouse now potentially in danger. Why has he gone this direction? He tries to charge on forward, will get nowhere. He's about to fall. Turbo manages to satchel charge away to safety, and they've killed off the Scion. Reckless and Nemesis slowed down but not taken down. Torre loses a bit of his HP, but Bouse doesn't really get all that much value and ends up falling there. A little bit over-eager from the top laner of LR. Baron is there. It's Lost Ratones trying to prevent Verdant from coming on in, throwing out some poke, and again, Crowny at 3 items. There's Cogmore,
a TP.
Nothing to sniff at, a TP in. So many this game.
At least, oh, we do have a spellbook. I was about to say we don't have a spellbook, but we do have a spellbook.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
now,
no, 4 available for Verdant.
LR have fallen for the same trap they've done before, right? I feel like they've fallen for the Braum trap. Getting that Cogmo plus Braum is fantastic. You've got a Scion, he can tank for days. Great. Who's engaging? Who's making the plays for Elara here? Because Veli, again, is falling off. He's becoming a buff bot as the game goes on. Attack speed, heals for the Cogmo and the Azir, perfect. Scion can tank for days. Can he, though? Because that Corki has gotten accelerated. The Ziggs has gotten accelerated. You've got damage coming through from the Aatrox and the Maokai. You have 4 damage dealers on the side of Verdant. That Scion cannot tank for days as you thought. And there's no actual go button to pin people in place from the side of LR, so then they can kill them with ease. And I think this is the problem that LR are running into right now. Nidalee is not as relevant as she used to be 10 minutes ago, and you don't necessarily really have a go button. So unless Verdant really overextend and give you a kill in a platter, how does LR really engage in these fights?
Look, I'm saying the Euros are on right now. Lioness has made it away to the finals. Maybe we just need to get the coach to put an emergency sub in. Cadril back in the 90th minute. 30 about to crest on the clock. Dragon spawning in 15. LR in the river. The Verdant, lots of ways to face check. Torre makes his will unbreakable. Stops all of that damage coming down on top of it, but it does mean that tank ult is down for the count for now.
Yeah, and 5 seconds for the Dragon. That's very, very important, right? Torre has been primarily the playmaker for Verdant. He's been the guy who's finding the plays. Him having no ultimate means that he's so squishy. The second he walks forward into a bush and tries to make a play, he's going to be taken down. And as you can see, he is taking the route around. Nemesis is there. He hasn't been spotted yet. But he hasn't spotted Nemesis either.
Control ward, but actually, look at the other side. The poke is so obnoxious. Torre gets jumped on, will need to run away to the minions and does so. Can look to potentially rejoin with a teleport of Spellbook. All the while, though, getting some poke coming on out. Bouncing bombs, saplings. Really obnoxious. This late game Ziggs getting dangerous to manage. Nemesis on a flank angle. Out comes the Nature's Grasp. Big stuns. Trying to get some value. Knock up at the Glacial Fissure. SLT makes himself a very scary world ender. Dragon secured. Shuffle on 2. Sunkick trying to survive, will flash away. Nemesis in danger and flashes out himself. Torres come back in. Nemesis in danger. And backed into the bouncing bomb. Crowny now in danger. He dies as well. Senkux is godlike. Veli will at least bring him down, but you lose 1 for the price of 2. And without your damage dealers, Baron looks real good to Verdant.
Very importantly, LR stopped the Soul from going over to Verdant, but you can see how difficult these fights have become for LR to take. Because they're not played in their own terms. They don't get to start the fights. Even though Nemesis gets a fantastic start by pushing out Torre, who's been an absolute nuisance for the backline of Lost Ratones. Nemesis will spot him here, he'll push him out, he will create a 4 versus 5 in favor of LR. They have no way of engaging. Reckless has to literally jump forward to try and Q, and then you can't just keep walking forward. The E goes down from Ziggs, you can't walk forward because you're too slowed down. The Maokai ultimate comes through. Fantastic goal coming through from Reckless. But once SLT flashes in, everyone just scatters from the You cannot contain these Aatrox. Faust is too low, Belly is too low, Nemesis tries to make a play, but everyone's too busy. Got the Aatrox has slid into the backline. And then by all this time, Torre comes back in with a teleport from Spellbound.
And finds that headbutt to knock Nemesis right back where he came from. The flash doesn't keep him safe, and now we're in a very odd game state. The gold, theoretically in Lost Ratone's favour, but it does feel very challenging for them to get value of this game. And again, a lot of that gold is into this Nidalee. And actually, as we said, the scaling on Nidalee, the memes about late game Nidalee are a thing. It's got a Void Staff now, so it might begin to hurt some of those tanks a little bit more again. But now we go towards Baron, and reminder, no flash on Nemesis, or Velia, or Baus, or Crowny. Not that many on the other side, actually. I think absolutely every flash is down there. It's literally Reckless alone with that very important summoner spell available. Not quite sure who that favours right now. Probably Verdant, because again, they can play from a significantly further range, and they got a bit more disengaged to work with.
And that was a trade so from SLT onto Baus right there. That was 30% HP left onto Baus. No ultimates included right here. And LR gonna start up this Baron. SLT is gonna have to TP in for that one. Level 18, freshly dinked.
It's burning. And again, where is Dank? He doesn't have a flash to get in here. How did you get to the damn pit? He won't be able to. They pull off the Baron, and they don't want to rush it or risk it. Nature's Grass came on through. Look at the backline. SLT's TP'd in. Now he's in danger. Passive from Brawl. Comes on down on top of him. But he gets onto Reckless. Deathbringer stands. Gets so much healing back. Torre jumps onto Cornball. And Crowdy's down again. Baus can't buy enough space as SLT and Torre back away from the danger. The World Ender about to time out. SLT will Umbral dash a little bit further forward. Danka potentially being run at by Baus and Velia. But they can't get more. They lose the AD carry, and LR again struggling to connect fully on kills.
A quick reminder right here, we mentioned earlier on how it's difficult for Aatrox. Hold on.
That's
SLT?
a 3v1.
All right,
yeah,
I'm
won't
back to
find too much more. Okay,
we
you're
mentioned
good.
how it's difficult for Aatrox to actually play these fights, right? Bro, Sion make it really difficult for you to stick on a target. Talking about sticking on a target, I think they stuck onto Nemesis and took him down.
It did. They just found the value. Torres there again joins up with his former Splice player and heads straight towards some victory. Now we're heading on towards the Baron. Nemesis down, Crowny down. Crowny does have TP, but he's not alive for another 10 seconds. So I think this Baron is just Verdant's for the taking.
Absolutely. Again, I feel like Torre has been doing a fantastic job right here, but his most important job is keeping that Nidalee out of the pit, and no one is really doing this. SLT is now gonna pop the ult to chase Velia out. Torre might give his life away to keep the rest of the LR members out. That's gonna be a Baron for Verdant, and about 1,000 gold.
Did you just see that Deathbreaker's dance auto to put SLT up half his HP bar? That was ridiculous. Man, oh man, they do lose one on the back end of it, but they have secured Baron. Torre dead for 30 seconds. Dragon up in a minute, so that might be something to contest again. That would be Soul for Verdant. And again, Chemsol, when you're trying to play around some of the CC and low health bars and shielding and stuff, I can see some value this game on both teams.
Yeah, and I want to direct your eyes to the levels as well. 2 levels difference in the mid lane, 2 levels difference down the bot lane. And just about now, Baus hit that level 18. He also had a level difference with SLT right here, but mid and bot have really been suffering this entire game. And even though we did commend Azir and Nemesis for choving this whole entire game and trying to get more damage onto this Azir, it has been Senkunks constantly with the gold lead, constantly being a member of all those skills and skirmishes and playing more aggressive, and Verdant through him. I mean, hell, the new roster was built around him, and it seems like it was the right choice because he's shining with all the members that have surrounded him.
Baus trying to step forward again. Not a lot of resists in this build. It's got Overlord's Blood Mail, a lot of HP, but his one actual armor item slash magic resist item is the Unending Despair, and that's all well and good, but you've got a Liandry's Bloodletter's Cursed Maokai. You've got the Aatrox, the Corki, the Ziggs, so many people who can start chunking him out. Gets satcheled back and eats a bit of damage. LR still in the river first here.
Now, this is a very scary situation because Baus was sort of trying to split Verdant, but here comes Torre, playing on the flank. It's gone.
Dragon secured. They are a little late to come over and contest, a bit too preoccupied with Baus. We said that before, but wait, the Mega Blast Cone extends the potential players. LR now on the wrong side of the map, trying to put down the Sun Disc. Look to play around that, get the wave shoved. What can they find here?
This is perfect for LR. They're wasting the Baron buff on the side of Verdant. If they can make it out of here, this is a successful heist for the Rats.
It really is. They are making so much of this. Great moves from them. And Verdant, a little bit lost. They're late to the Dragons. Don't get value out of that. And they might even get a wave shoved into their tier 3. Awkward stuff from Verdant and solid problem solving from Lost Ratones.
Yeah, I say that might be a negative Baron play right here because they were about 1,000 gold up after they got the Baron. And now the gold is dead even. So Lost Ratones are going to put themselves on soul point, stop Verdant from claiming their soul, and delay that Baron push. Now you have a couple of seconds until that Baron buff expires, and nothing was taken from the side of Verdant. I just want to point out 4 items deep onto Kog'Maw. If Crownie gets to stand still and auto attack, Verdant is in deep trouble.
We get some value on it. Red buff being attacked. Trying to get some value on it. Shunted back by that Bramble Smash. Not too much to be done at this point. Baron, 2.5 minutes. Next Dragon in 3.5. Both teams now at soul point. 2 very extended games in a row here.
I mean, it's just a very scary game step to be, right? You don't want to be the guy who mispositions, gets caught, creates a 4 versus 5. The death timers are like 50 seconds now. Close to a minute.
Plus, yeah.
You could potentially lose the game by being caught. Talking about it, all flashes up and available for the next play. We've got the extra Banshee protection onto Nevin's Ziggs right here, as well as the flash. So it's a pretty protected Ziggs for the time being. You see Torre hovering around on the tops of the map as well, just around the Ziggs. You just need to ping pong the waves until there's a new objective. 2 minutes on the map for the next Baron to come through. And of course, with both teams having so much wave clear in their disposal, I feel like Baron is the no-brainer right here if you really want to truly push into a lane. Into a base,
yeah,
sorry.
I think on the other side of that as well, we're seeing Crownie just picked before them. It's the Flicker Blades. Uptime now on things like that Bio-Arcane Barrage are going to be nearly all the time, and that's a huge deal because again, Kog'Maw is the strongest champion in the game for the duration of his W. And the more often you get that W up, the more value it is. Looking likely towards like a GA here as well. Picked up that chain vest. I'd imagine something with a bit of armor in it, at the very least with that item.
And I feel
Might
like
be Randuin's, I suppose.
I feel like Nemesis really needs a fight to happen right here because he's kind of stuck being the utilitarian right here. He's got the Seekers, he's got the Oblivion Orb as well, so he wants the anti-heal, but he also needs the survivability. But none of these items can necessarily be completed unless he has like a big sum of gold in his bank, which currently he doesn't. So he's kind of stuck on components, 3 items and a couple of components, whilst Corki has 4 fully fledged completed items that really benefit him in terms of damage output in the fights to come. So Nemesis is really looking to complete potentially one or the other. He's going to go back to base. Let's see if one of the two is going to get completed. Seekers and Oblivion Orb. It's not going to be the case. I'm assuming he probably got a pot. Now, this is a very awkward position to be in.
Yeah, it is. There's the arm guard for Senkux. Actually, of course, a lot of the AP scalings in Corki. Not what they once were. Used to basically build AP Corki once upon a time. He's got an Overlord's Blood Mail himself to turn some of that HP into even more AD. Wild Corki builds coming on in, but so far so good for Senkux, who's been now about 4,000 HP on his own. Quite hard to bring down by LR if he gets a chance to Valkyrie away.
Yeah, and I don't really like what Verdant are doing here. I think they're being too much split. I feel like the only one who's more likely to split from the side of Verdant is Torre. What I was trying to say in the previous team fights is that it's very difficult for SLT to play these team fights due to the Braum, the Azir, and the Sion. It's like very difficult for an Aatrox to stick onto a target with these 3 champions on the other side. However, Torre has made it very, very easy for him. Nemesis might be face-checking that Aatrox. He's going to miss the first Q. But yeah, Torre has been the sole purpose why it has been so easy for this Aatrox to actually find isolated targets in these team fights and send them to the death realm.
May well be 30 seconds on Chem Dragon. Lost Ratones in the river again. Last time Verdant were too late to truly contest. Took too long coming on over. This late in the game, Kog'Maw presses W and the Dragon disappears. Baron 2. Oh, I misspoke that time around. All the time though, here comes Baron, speaking of.
They're gonna trade it for the Baron, but LR do not want to give that one away. Nemesis is still on the bot side. He still has TP. I feel like Verdant are looking to pull the TP from Nemesis, but it's not necessarily gonna be the case. They're just trading soul for Baron. They're looking. Verdant is just actually looking to use that Baron potentially to end the game, because if you don't end the game on that Baron, you've traded something that permanently stays in the game for something that's temporary.
And is Chem Soul going to be enough value? I know it's been one of those souls that's very dependent on game state and the champions have got how much value it gets, but see what they can do with it. Verdant, another Baron. the last one, very anemic. We're dragged around the map by Lost Ratones. We're late to the dragon fight themselves, and this time they're going to try and do things right. Break the base, break the game open. They're going to need to, or it will come, as you said, at the cost of that permanent buff.
I mean, yeah, Baron's temporary, soul is forever, right? So no matter how long this game goes, the soul will stay on the LR members. However, you need to use that Baron to break open the base at least to make it worth trading the soul, right? Because now you've given over more combat stats over to LR, which is something that they can really use going into that late game. And right now, remember how Nemesis was stuck in this weird point where he had a Seekers and Oblivion Orb? He has a full Hourglass right now, so he's 4.5 items fully into the game.
Difficult to figure out as it stands, but Verdant heading on to these tier 2s. Finally beginning to get a little bit more pressure on the map again. It has been a little bit tentative again, and we have criticized Verdant for taking a while to close out games. Aragon was saying he kind of favored LR partly because of that, but right now, Bausi going to try and ult down the lane and try and clear out the wave where they're not buffed up.
That is fantastic, and Nemesis has pushed in that mid lane wave. The only way remaining on the map is SLTs on the top side of the map, and he's CPing there as well! To stop that wave,
so obnoxious! And that just completely muted the Baron push again.
I don't know, I think he's kind of like maybe somehow connected to people, because he's Mr. Worldwide in this game. Over in the bot lane to ult and take the wave, then TP over to the tops of the map to stop that wave as well. And so far, 2 Barons have gone over to Verdant, but nothing has come anywhere close to attacking or getting into LR's base with them.
Jack Show just got done for Cogmore though, trying to be as tanky as they can. Got an arm guard on Velia, getting harder and harder to pick off key targets as Zonya's now on this. Is here we are hitting the late game, 42 minutes. 4 minutes till Elder.
And are you ready? Because I feel like these teams are not going to look to fight unless they find a weird pick from a side. And it's not going to come from LR, because LR don't have any tools to pick anyone up from the side of Verdant. So unless Verdant find a pick somewhere, somehow, in some way, then it's just so difficult to play this. They're going to use the Maokai ult for an outer tower, and that's all she wrote.
You get it. Baus has got over 10,000 HP, I think. How many segments to his name? That Heartsteel's got 700 odd stacks. He is really, really obnoxious, getting increasingly hard to kill purely by virtue of the amount of HP he's got.
Even though Verdant were feeling very confident before, Baus is going to be ulting in. The flash coming through from Devon.
Hang on, he's got a lot of HP, but there's still a lot of percent HP damage with what's on Verdant. And he has to back away again, regrets that, and flashes out.
Very importantly, that's Devon's flash down. That's flashless Ziggs. And in about 2.5 minutes time, the two objectives are going to come up on the map. I feel LR will be looking to find a target right here. Baus has been very creative with the way he navigates himself around the fights. He manages to find the Ziggs over in the backline, even if he just zones him out of the fight, right? That's a 5-item Ziggs. Everyone's on 5 items right now. He's one of the big main carries of Verdant. You zone him out of a fight, you can pretty much create a full vs 5 scenario in favor of LR.
Just think of a redemptionist Danker trying to pick up some utility items. Hell, just look at the supports. They're starting to get more and more unusual. It's an Abyssal Masking inventory on both to try and allow their magic damage dealers to kill the targets in front of them.
Yeah, we'll say right here, Nemesis is very happy. The Oblivion Orb became a Morello Nomicon. The Seekers became an Hourglass. That's 5 full items onto his Azir. And I'm pretty sure he might have... No, he doesn't have the potion. I thought he had a potion as well, but I can't tell with his skin because it's kind of flary. So I'm not sure.
It's got lots of like ribbons, doesn't it? It's one of the world skins, isn't it?
Yeah, so I can't really tell if he does have his potion up and available, but I'm sure he'll accumulate 500 gold to buy one for himself. Devon just left the base. Has his 5 items available as well, but he has to be very, very extremely careful for the next fights. 1.5 minutes, and look at the vision that LR have inside Tanka's bot quadrant of the jungle, which is the place of interest. This is where the Elder Dragon will be spawning in 1.5 minutes time.
LR's macro over the last 10-20 minutes has done a fantastic job of holding Verdant at bay, stopping them from converting a lot of their really great team fight wins into meaningful map advantages. The gold lead, non-existent. They have Soul. They are the ones who've got the wards down behind them, and Verdant are going to need to reset here. And look to come on in. We'll have pretty much every TP available. 4 up for Verdant, 3 up. Well, actually only 2 because Baus doesn't have his, but has got the ult button to rejoin that way. That means Reset's ability to join fights will get very, very aggressive indeed. Senkuk sold off the arm guard for the GA, has that one available. Brace yourself, folks. We have got the apocalyptic fight upon us. 40 seconds till Elder.
Yeah, and these are very, very important to keep a track of because we talked about Devon not having flash. Doesn't have an hourglass. He's gone full damage. If they somehow find that Ziggs in the backline, that Ziggs is absolutely helpless. No hourglass, no flash, no displacement spell at all. Apart if you want to use your W to your advantage, right? And on the other side, you've got 2 hourglasses, one on Nemesis on the Azir, one on that Nidalee, and a GA, as you very nicely called, onto the Corki. They have found Bounce, but Bounce doesn't go down that fast. As SLT has lost his full HP bar almost.
Does a little bit. We'll have the Deathbringer stance to bring some options back, and of course, still got the World End to work with. Not the end of the world here. Manages to stabilize a little bit. Red buff on LR, not on the other side. They've started up Elder. Verdant, you need to come and fight. You cannot be left caught out as the Nature's Grasp comes on forward. Velia in danger. He's not in the pit right now. Trying to run this one down. Redemption spotted out. Bounce is dead. SLT in the backline. Knock up on Nemesis. Goes golden. But for how much longer can he survive? Gets knocked up again. Slides away. Survives. Bounces zombies doing work. But what about the Elder? It's been leashed and Verdant are on it.
It's a 50-50. Velia still around. Unless they kill Velia, it's a 50-50 forever.
They can get in there. It's won by Danka. But what about the fight afterwards? They've killed Velia off as well. 2 people dead for Verdant. Sorry, 4 lost returns by Verdant. Better phrasing. TP out from Crowdy. Oh my days.
I'm very surprised that Verdant right here, they did not speed run that Baron.
No way, gets away
Crowdy
with
just
that.
about gets out with the TP. And the reason that Torre came through a flank on the both side of the map was that Spellbook, he had the teleport through Spellbook, TP'd into the alcove down in the bot lane and managed to get the flank that caught Nemesis and forced him to dash out. Now, of course, Verdant, they'll be unstoppable to take that Baron since they do sport the Elder Dragon buff right now. Let's watch this one more time. Look at where Tor is coming from. TP's down in the alcove. Baus is dead. And by the time LR tried to follow Baus right here, Tor has come from the bot side, throws Nemesis into the open arms of the rest of the Verdant crew. And then it becomes really difficult, right? Because your only front line is Reckless. But if Reckless walks up, he's like literally paper. This is the problem that melts onto the Ziggs and the Corki, right? Velia tried to go in, try to burst the Dragon together with Crowny and Reckless. Wasn't quite enough. Misses the smite. Danka smites that one up, and Verdant are double buffed.
Nemesis TP'd mid to shove it out after that failed Elder fight to prevent the shove through mid lane and the breaking of the base. Bounce Wedded just did the same again, but Baron is secured. A minute on Elder, a couple more on Baron. See exactly how much Verdant can do. It's their 3rd Baron. If they can't end it with Elder and Baron, I just don't know how they will.
I mean, this is their chance, right?
No!
As we say this...
Felt it out there. Either way, it's not done yet. I want to pause there briefly because Verdant was suffering with some ping issues, hoping that's resolved. Very important here in these later stages to feel comfortable. Online matches can sometimes be at the whims of your internet provider. Those saplings this late in the game as well really do sting a bit. Trying to break their way through. LR doing their very best just to leap waves as they come. SLT, the 1 to the 1-4.
Pushing top and mid at the same time. One counter minion holding the case over in the mid lane, and Verdant are taking this very, very slow. They're trying to build up the wave over on the tops of the map, right? So by the time that LR step up to break it, they won't be able to do that just in time. So the Maokai route will be used for the top lane zoning to take that tower, and by that time the mid lane wave has crashed in. That is 2 towers down for Verdant and 1 inhibitor.
The inhibitors just disappear in the blink of an eye. If Verdant get to auto the turrets, they go. You can see why LR were forcing those waves away, because with all of the AP, hang on, Torre gets on top of Velia, gets the stun with the trample, in comes the Mega Inferno Bomb! Burn is brutal, but I think the Elder timed out just long enough that that won't be the execute. Senkuk eats a few soldiers, but that will give the inhibitor nonetheless to Verdant. 2 down, 1 remains in the bot lane.
All right, slow and steady win the race for Verdant right here. They don't want to overdo it, right? They take the objectives. That's what matters. You don't have to overfight if you don't need to.
House goes on in, tries to charge. It's onto not necessarily the best target. Unbreakable Will comes on down. The redemption heal. Now SLT trying to chunk some people out. As Reckless loses about a third of his HP. Nature's Grasp again. It's onto Bounce. Gonna try and get some damage onto him again for all of the HP. He can still be burned down. There's a lot of percent damage that Verdant can throw at them. Have to back away here. Can't get any more.
Oh boy, we might be looking at Baron number 4 to win this game. Maybe an Elder, but LR are looking. They know that if Verdun go back to base, this is pretty much going to be game.
Gets going to
It's going to be
SLT.
used, but SLT's out.
Yeah, they don't want to stick around for that red buff. They were thinking about it, but a little bit too many people there and backing away. Crownie switched his items out. He's got a straight of the wit's end out for the Terminus at this point in the game. And we are starting to get to that point where we start just selling whole items, rebuilding to something completely different.
All right, right now, gold diff irrelevant. Both teams, full items, full pots. We're talking 4th Baron on the menu in 2.5 minutes. Macro doesn't even matter anymore. It's about who gets caught, who gets the first pick, how does your team fight unfold. So far, it has been Verdant dominant. They have the tools to engage, they have the tools to play front to back.
Reckless.
Before, we talked about Devon being in a pretty precarious situation where he didn't necessarily have his flash, doesn't have Hourglass, and it could have been dangerous playing the fight. Now he does have his flash up. So he plays a lot more offensively.
I need to know
as
who's
he
got
walks inside the
Gathering
jungle.
Storm. We're 52 minutes in. We're 52 minutes in. I just want to reiterate that. Who has Gathering Storm? You need to ask, don't you? Because those stacks are gonna.
That's a lot of stats, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm looking at Devon, who's got the Comet. May well have it in there. Oh my days. Adrian, if you're listening, mate, could you drop me a line in production chat? I know you're in the TR. I need to know what are the Gathering Storm stats.
So, Verdun right here, of course, are taking full control over the bot side of the map, right? 38 seconds. The next Elder Dragon will be spawning. Now, of course, it's one thing to win the fight and one thing to take the Dragon. As SLT has found himself Bowser here. Bowser doesn't have flash. He does have the ultimate available. There's going to be a very, very brief exchange. The most important thing is creating vision around the bot side of the map. And LR's vision is very, very shallow. This shallow that actually Sion has to TP in to actually help them get inside this river.
Ziggs has Scorch. Nemesis has Gathering Storm. Oh boy, will that be a difference maker? SLT gonna get out as there was a flash blown. Will survive, but down that key summoner. Elder number 2. We go again. It was supposed to end with the last one. It has not. 53 minutes on the clock. And it comes to this again.
Verdun have to be very decisive because Nemesis is pushing that mid lane wave as well. They have to play decisive. They have the engage in their hands. Torre, for the first time, he's not playing for a flank. He's playing to keep LR out. SLT is the one looking to get into the backline.
Reckless is body blocking him off, slides back into the pit, down to half HP. Keep your eyes on 120 extra AP from that Gathering Storm on Nemesis. Going to charge on in, going for the fight, bounce in danger. Glacial Fissure comes on down. Massive Mega in front of him, the back of the Crowning Bridge. It's taken by Velia! He fights the fight, but what happens afterwards? Bounce getting killed, Heartsteel proc to Verdun. All of the hard work goes up in flames. The dragon screams in defiance and push and pull. It does not give a flying damn. Lost Ratones will not be exterminated. A quadra kill to Nemesis. The rats continue, numerous and overrun Verdun in the moment it matters.
We said it doesn't matter who wins the fight, it matters who gets the dragon, and it's Velia coming through with a 50-50 to save the rats.
Nothing on God's green earth or the Summoner's Rift can bring Lost Ratones down. 4-0 in groups of Verdun. It is heartbreak, pure and simple. 55 minutes on the clock. Lost Ratones win the game.